wanted to take a look at this and see what we got. See what we got.
So today is Saturday, February 26th, and it's the third day of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia.
Yes.
Now, people in the United States do not seem to understand what is going on insofar as Russia's invasion is concerned, because they keep saying that Russia is failing, which is the weirdest comment. Russia is failing because Russia hasn't taken out the infrastructure of Ukraine, hasn't hit the electrical grid, hasn't destroyed the cell phone towers or the water supply or something like that. It's just remarkable. They keep insisting that the Russians seem to advance and then retreat whenever they meet any resistance. And it's just a failure of imagination on the part of so many American commentators that they do not seem to understand what Russia is really
coach.
doing.
Yes,
with this
coach.
invasion.
Tell us the truth.
Because you
Tell
see,
us what the
the
Russians
American mode of
you,
war
want you, truth
is to
seeker.
go to
You
a country and destroy everything. Destroy the electrical grid, cell towers, the water supply system, everything. Just destroy the whole thing and then roll in. That's not fighting a war. That's just mopping up the total annihilation of a country. And the United States has done this repeatedly in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Libya, in Syria, or they semi-tried to do it in Syria. I mean, it's really kind of like a despicable way of making war, right? But what are the Russians doing? Well, see, the Russians, they don't want to destroy Ukraine. No, they don't want to destroy it at all. What they want to do is they want to capture it.
yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. No, you guys, you don't understand. Russia doesn't want to destroy Ukraine.
Intact. See? And they don't want to hurt the civilians. Why would they?
For being called Coach RedPill, I didn't know he would be like for communist red. I thought he was like Republican red. But I guess I was wrong about that.
From their point of view, if they harm civilians, they just create enemies. And so they want to capture Ukraine, change the political leadership of Ukraine, and install a political leadership that is sympathetic to Russia's security needs.
Yeah, you know what that was called during the Cold War? Satellite states, buddy. He's like, guys, you don't understand. They just want to put a government in that will let Russia do whatever it's want. You don't understand, guys. They don't want to destroy Ukraine. This was just all a failed invitation to have tea. yeah, Teddy. This was all just like a really bad way of communicating that they just want to have tea. Just put a net over Ukraine.
And is going to be a long-term ally. But they don't want to alienate the Ukrainian population. Because if they alienate the Ukrainian population, well, the Ukrainian population will eventually overthrow this puppet regime. And the Russians want to install a puppet regime. Let's not pretend otherwise. But they want to install a puppet regime whereby the Ukrainian citizens are more or less indifferent to it. They don't want to install a puppet regime after having made the lives of Ukrainians so miserable. So that's why they don't want to destroy Ukraine or harm the Ukrainian populace. They want to capture
I love the rationalizing of this. Oh.
Ukraine intact, change the political leadership, and then let it go. Of course. Because they don't want to manage Ukraine. They don't want it to be a burden on them. They don't want that long term. And so what are they doing? They are rapidly invading the whole country, and everybody concedes that they're moving very, very quickly. But they're not hitting any civilian infrastructure. They're only hitting...
If you guys remember, I did that stream covering like the first day of invasion. They were hitting civilian they were hitting places with civilians. The bombs are those bathtub bombs. They're just trying to make Ukraine take a massive bath. Yeah, yeah, that's
Military
it.
targets. And they are relentless in hitting the military targets, but always with a certain degree of caution.
A certain
And I'll
degree of
explain why in just a
caution.
moment. But they're hitting military targets. They are avoiding civilian populations and civilian infrastructure.
Not really. The Ukrainian people are indifferent to it. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Oh yeah, the Ukrainian people are totally indifferent to Russia, placing a puppet government, They're totally indifferent to it. They're totally not against it whatsoever, It's not like there's a guerrilla fighting.
And when they go to a city or a destination, when they encounter any resistance from the Ukrainian army, any serious resistance, they stop and pull back. Because what are they doing? They are encircling. That's their whole strategy. And it's very simple. And if you look at a map, you'd realize it. What the Russians are doing is that whenever they go to a major city like Kiev, like Kharkov, and soon enough they're going to be in Dnipro, when they get to those cities, they go up to those cities and they meet some resistance and then they pull back. And they allow their forces to start to surround it. And that's the strategy they're employing in Kiev. That's the strategy
The military target of some random chick on a bike. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't watch. I think people were saying there was a video of it. I didn't want to watch that. But I did hear about that, and yeah. She was a high priority military target. You don't understand, Teddy. If she wasn't taken out, she could have soloed the entire Russian military. She would have John Wicked all of them with just the bicycle.
that they're employing in Kharkov. They are encircling these cities, and once they've completely encircled them, what will they do? They'll wait. That's what they'll do. See, if you surround a city, all you have to do is just wait around. Eventually it'll fall, of course. And so the
Yeah, that's how a siege works. Okay.
Russians are systematically surrounding all of the major cities. And whenever they come across a smaller town or village, they just advance and cover it and capture it and move on and continue with their advance. Whenever they meet any kind of serious resistance, they stop, pull back, and then encircle. One of the things that they want to capture intact, and people don't seem to realize this, but it's very obvious if you think about it, they are trying to capture the Ukrainian army. That's not why there hasn't been any major battles with, hundreds or thousands of casualties. It's been light skirmishes. For all intents and purposes, the Russian army is tiptoeing into Ukraine. Insofar as air power is concerned, the Russians in the first 3 hours wiped the Ukrainian skies of everything. The Russians own the Ukrainian skies. Any plane flying is Russian. But insofar as their army is concerned, this isn't World War II. This isn't a World War II where the Russian armies were kissing cousins of the Mongol hordes. You know what I'm saying? No, this is the modern Russian army
Kissing
that has the
cousins?
goal
Okay.
of capturing intact Ukraine and the Ukrainian army. Because the
Because remember, guys, they want a puppet government, but they want the puppet government to be indifferent to the people. Okay.
Russians realize that once they have captured Ukraine and changed the political leadership, they will need an army to protect
But
and look
honestly,
after
my love for
Ukrainian
comedy
state
is
and the
so
Ukrainian
powerful
people
that
and
I'd
the
be
Ukrainian
completely
land.
okay with World
They
War
don't want
III
to
starts
destroy
as
the
long
Ukrainian
as
army. They
Switzerland
could
or
do
Canada
that if they
starts it.
wanted to.
It would be
They
a
would have done
beautiful
that already.
comedy moment.
They own the skies.
That would be interesting
over
for sure.
Ukraine. Their goal is to capture Ukraine, capture the Ukrainian army with as little casualties as possible to the Ukrainian army. And that's why whenever they come up against serious Ukrainian resistance, they keep consistently pulling back. And in the West, this is interpreted as the Russians are weak, which is so weird. It's like the Russians are so weak, they're not advancing as fast. I mean, well, that is a separate issue that I'm going to get to in just a moment. But the Russians are so weak because they're not obliterating the Ukrainian army. Because that's what the Americans do. They obliterate anything that crosses their path. Friend or foe, they don't really care. But the Russians do care. That's why they're not.
Yeah, the Russians care. The Russians care. the, the Russians are known for being very caring people. I mean, he's objectively right. This isn't World War II. It's not the world, just Ukraine and Russia. Gotta give it to him to that. I mean, yeah, he's right. It isn't World War II, guys. It's not 1940. The Russian people, very known for how caring they are.
Obliterating the Ukrainian army when they could. A friend of mine, Alex Christoforou, and the Duran, great show, he pointed out something that I'd never considered, which is very obvious. He pointed out the fact that, you see, the current Ukrainian leadership in the military, the generals in Ukraine, they went to military academies with the generals of the Russian armies. They're drinking buddies since when they were back in like 18-year-old, 19-year-old plebes. They know each other. They don't want to kill each other. Of course not. I mean, you've got some buddy when you were drinking out when you were 18, right? Do you want to kill him? No. You could be on opposing sides of whatever contest, but you don't want to hurt him. Of course not. You'll be pissed off at him maybe, but you don't want to kill him. The Russian army doesn't want to destroy the Ukrainian army. They could have done it already in these 3 days of combat. Once the Russians owned the skies over Ukraine, they could have done whatever they wanted with the Ukrainian army. They could have annihilated it, just blown it to smithereens and blown away the entire population of Ukraine if they wanted to. They could cause a major, major humanitarian crisis if they wanted to, and they obviously don't.
By the way, isn't the right ones
because they
that
haven't
are
done
supposed to hate
They
Russia?
haven't had the opportunity for 3 days.
Yeah, like, isn't it? Yeah, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be the Republicans. Well, no, because like it's like they keep flip-flopping who likes Russia and who doesn't like Russia, right? They keep flip-flopping that. But I think well, because they're saying that like Trump likes Putin, I think they're trying to say that like, oh, the Republicans and the right-leaning guys like Russia, but like that's not really the case.
To do it, and they haven't done it. I'm doing this stupid video from a hotel room in downtown Kiev, and I'm going to upload it to the internet. Do you think I'd be able to do it if the Russians were really serious about conquering Ukraine? They want to capture it. Understand that. And understand that you in the West, you are being goaded into thinking that Putin and the Russians are like evil Antichrist.
They don't want him to kill. They don't want to kill them. That's why if you catch the footage, they use Nerf guns. I'm wondering. I'm wondering what Coach RedPill is gonna be taking this narrative though. I'm seriously wondering where this is going to go, because he makes this point that like, guys, the Western media is trying to make Russia and Putin seem like the bad guys. So, and remember, the title says why Zelensky is evil. So let's move forward.
You don't understand why the Russians are invading. And your political leadership, Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, all these people, they don't want you to understand. Of course not. They want you to just demonize, just to take the easy way out. They want you to imagine that this is a Marvel comic book movie and that, you know, there are white hats and black hats, good guys and bad guys. Yeah, we got to kill the bad guys because we're the good guys. Yeah. It's so naive. The Russians don't want to harm Ukraine. They would have destroyed Ukraine if they wanted to. but they don't. They want to capture it in one piece.
Mhm.
Now, you can say that Russia's motivations are this, that, the other. It doesn't matter. You have to look at the practical reality that is taking place now. What really bothers me, and perhaps this isn't a wise thing
What's
for
the
me to say
difference
while I'm
between
still in
conquering and
Ukraine
capturing?
under the Zelensky regime. What really bothers me is that the Zelensky regime has no trouble causing a humanitarian crisis. In fact, they welcome a humanitarian crisis. They would love to see dead Ukrainians.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. Okay, buddy. You know, wait. Teddy, if you're still in chat, tell me who's responsible for like the humanitarian crisis? I believe it's an invading army whose country of origin starts with the letter R. I believe that's the country that's causing the humanitarian crisis right now.
And I know this for a fact. And do you know how
I
I know
know
this
this
for
for
a
a
fact?
fact.
Because
Guys, we don't get it. Coach RedPill actually infiltrated the Ukrainian government. This guy speaks bull. I mean, he's totally wrong. Oh my god. No, you guys, we just don't understand. You see, what had happened was Coach RedPill was undercover, gaining all the secrets of the Ukrainian government, the Zelensky regime, as he calls it, so that way he could bring this video forward to us.
the Zelensky government has been handing out AK-47s willy-nilly to the civilian population.
Yeah, it's called fighting for your country.
As I understand it, they've already handed out 10,000 AK-47.
No, you don't understand. Russia just came in to give them lollipops. guys, Russia just came for a cupcake. Russia just came for a cupcake, guys. That's all.
And munitions to match. Now, you see, if you've never had any kind of military experience, you, with a weapon like that, you can become extremely dangerous to all the people around you and to yourself. It takes training to operate a firearm. You have to know what you're doing. It's.
I don't think anyone's denying that, dude, but at the same time, the people who are arming themselves are the people who want to fight. The people who are using these weapons want to fight for Ukraine. They don't want Russia's puppet government, dude. And I've already pointed this out, but Russia didn't come with guns. Also, Russia starts with just wants stars.
Not a casual thing, okay? It's not like in the movies. It's very, very dangerous, and you can harm yourself before you
Also, I already pointed this out. Didn't Russia come in with guns? I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
harm anybody else, and the harm you can cause to others is, it's incalculable, and you can't take it back. Now, the Zelensky regime is handing out these weapons.
Notice how he's calling them a regime, so that way they seem way more evil, too.
Teaching people how to use Molotov cocktails, how to make Molotov cocktails and use them themselves. They want to foment the people to fight the war.
The people want to fight the war because it's their home country. They want Ukraine to be independent. Shocker, Coach RedPill. I know. This is like the only time I ever get quote unquote political, but this is just so stupid. He's trying to this is the thing with any political commentator, whether it's this dude or fucking Vosh. They try to guys, you don't understand. Allow me to enlighten you. I who looked up this on Wikipedia for 20 minutes. I have a major in political science, guys. Trust me.
Against the Russians. And the thing is, see, the Russians have professional soldiers.
Did Coach just forget what a war is? I don't know, dude.
Now, these professional soldiers, they carry a weapon, they know what to do with the weapon. If they see somebody armed, be it a man in a uniform or just a civilian with an AK-47, well, they're going to shoot him, okay? And so that civilian will be dead, and that will present a great photo op now, won't it? So that Zelensky can wrangle.
Okay, let's get this right. Russia goes into Ukraine to make peace with guns, missiles, and friends with peoples with nukes. All hail peace, yeah. Yeah, we're just not getting the bigger picture. We're just not getting the bigger
European
picture.
country or the Americans or whomever to come in and get involved in this war and potentially escalate the situation to levels that are unimaginable. The Zelensky regime is doing something frankly evil.
How dare the Zelensky government give its people the ability to defend themselves? Yeah, that's totally evil. How dare you use weapons? What is this, Nazi Germany? Yeah, how dare the government allow its citizens to defend themselves during a time of war? Certainly evil, Coach RedPill. Certainly evil.
Because it is evil to encourage civilians to do something that incredibly dangerous.
Okay, here's the thing. Before the invasion took place, or like I think even like during the early hours of the invasion, the government didn't have to say a whole lot, because like the Ukrainian people wanted to fight Russia because they don't want their homeland taken from them. How is self-defense evil? What is good? I know, right? Dude, Coach RedPill is essentially saying, why can't you guys just let the opposing foreign army into your lands and take everything from you? I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Dude, imagine if another country invades the United States and he goes, "Oh, I can't believe these citizens with their guns trying to protect themselves." Oh, come on now.
Dangerous and irresponsible. The Zelensky regime has also put heavy weaponry in civilian population centers. Now, these heavy weapons,
Putin's gonna nuke us with peace. Yeah, guys. Yeah, he's gonna nuke peace and love to us.
And whatnot. They're dangerous. And so the Russian army has every right and obligation to destroy such heavy weapons. But of course, when trying to destroy such weapons, it's inevitable that you're not going to quite hit the weapons when you try to aim for them. You're going to hit around the weapons. And therefore, if these weapons are in the middle of apartment complexes, you're going to have Russians shelling apartment complexes, killing innocent civilians. The Zelensky regime is putting these weapons in the middle of populated areas precisely because
guns, we got cars, we're bad drivers to defend ourselves.
And I'll tell you something else that the Zelensky regime is doing. They are forcibly conscripting men between the ages of 18 and 60. They are not allowing them to leave the country, and if they try to leave the country, they are arrested and forcibly conscripted. That is, forcibly put into the Ukrainian army.
Yeah, it's called a draft. Ideally, they wouldn't do that. But guess what? They're fighting fucking Russia in a war. They're gonna need all the fucking manpower that they can gather. Imagine Canada losing its mind and invading the United States. I'm telling you, Canada starting World War III is the best timeline.
Now, what has happened because of this? Well, just about every man between the ages of 18 and 60 is running away from the cities. That's why there are so many refugees. It's not that they're seriously thinking that the Russians are going to shell and destroy their apartments or their homes or whatnot. They're afraid of getting arrested and forcibly conscripted. The women and the young
No, Russia has no right to invade and attack, period. For someone who has a degree in political science, good sir, it isn't using the knowledge he He earned, right?
Children and old men are having to hide these men who are between the ages of 18 and 60. And by the way, this isn't something that I heard. People that I know personally, people that I do business with, I know them. I've gone drinking with them, eating with them, doing deals with them. They've had to leave Kiev for fear of being forcibly
It would be a
pressed
blessing if North
into the Ukrainian
Korea
army.
would be like, I'll help you.
Middle-aged men, farts like me,
North
who
Korea
are
can
out
do
of
anything.
shape. You know, we're
Oh
real good
no,
at
that's oh no, that's not even part of their fear.
some business deal, but crappy at carrying a backpack and a weapon with no experience whatsoever in such activity. And the Ukrainian government, the Zelensky regime, is doing this. And why do you think they're doing it? Well, first of all, you don't forcibly conscript men into your army if you think that you're winning. Now, do you? Of course not. Number one.
You conscript men into the military when your country's being invaded by a much larger military force. That's kind of what happens.
One. And number two, by having this forcible conscription, you scare all the men and you create, all on your own, a whole class of refugees, of people fleeing the cities. They're not afraid of the Russians. They're afraid of the Ukrainian regime that is trying to press them into service. That's what's going on. And so you see all the video images of people fleeing the city, and you in the West, you in the United States and Western Europe think, oh, they're afraid of the Russians. No, they're afraid of the Zelensky regime.
How about they're just afraid of war in general? Like, that could be it too. This dude.
But I have to say that the issue of handing out weapons to civilians who don't know how
Why
to
do you
handle
think
it,
they're doing it? I don't know. Maybe because it has something to do with the whole invasion thing. I know, right, Teddy? I know.
that is the thing I find most despicable. Because they are willing to have these poor civilians who know nothing of weaponry become martyrs. Because the Russian soldiers who see some civilian with a gun, well, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to shoot him. And that innocent civilian who doesn't even know how to hold the damn weapon is going
Clearly, if he sees the president of Ukraine, he sees the president of Ukraine speak on YouTube, he would see why he's fighting along with the people on top of that. The war only is draining
to
him.
die needlessly for nothing, for absolutely nothing. And I find that despicable. I find that true.
All right, so here's the thing. The Ukrainian people are going to fight Russia, whether they're in the military or not. So, the Ukrainian government, on top of needing all the manpower they can get, they much rather would have a civilian armed with a weapon to defend themselves, at least, than with nothing at all, because people are going to fight. And even before the invasion started, there were people talking about how they were getting their families' old weapons together so that way they could defend themselves against Russia. Coach RedPill's point here is just so fucking weird. I think it's because he wants to, like, you know, he's Coach RedPill, so he always wants to be against, like, the democratic government.
The Zelensky regime can get a nice photo op. That's what's going on. And if you want to say that the message I'm saying is pro-Russian or pro-Putin, or I'm a Putin stooge or useful idiot or whatever, fine. I don't care. I mean, I don't really care your opinion, man. I don't give a fuck what you think about me.
I don't give a fuck what you think, but let me speak my opinion. You should care about my opinion.
I'm telling you the truth.
I'm the one telling the truth. Coach RedPill is the distributor of the truth, guys. He is the truth bringer.
I'm here in Kiev, in the downtown, waiting for the Russians to invade the damn place, huh? So I know what I'm talking about. None of this stuff is appearing in the mainstream media now, is it, huh? because I'm not following the American or European mainstream media because I know it's just a pack of lies. But
The only mainstream media he trusts is the Russian one, I bet. This guy is more left than I thought. Now he's like, now he's pro gun control. Probably. Yeah, he's probably pro. Exactly. People are going to do what they can to survive in any fight. That along is common sense, no political science.
probably what I'm saying in this video, you haven't heard it. Well, now you're hearing it. And think a little bit, huh? I mean, in this
Think,
channel,
guys,
what have
just
I
think.
always told you, stupid motherfuckers, huh? Think for yourself. Think. Look at the information that you have available and ask yourself why something is happening the way it's happening.
Well, with all the information I have, I think this dude's a laughing stock for sure. But yeah, that was the Coach Red Pill video, guys.